I think for us, in a nutshell, it was really simple. Like, I think we often saw that folks across the country have to pay more for the sustainable option.
Yeah.
And we really wanted to kind of shift this and turn it upside down and actually reward you and basically pay you to reduce your carbon footprint. So Future is offering you cash back if you take the train, if you charge your car, if you are buying reloved secondhand fashion that's still in great shape but significantly cheaper than what you would find kind of new on the rack. And so by really focusing on, like, how does this impact you as a family? Like, how can you, Julian, save some cash and save some carbon every day? Like, what are the choices that you can make?
Yeah.
And that's the contribution that at Future we want to make. We'll constantly give you options to do good and do well, and get more cash and slash your carbon footprint.
I love that. And yeah, I mean, I struggle every day with adding more waste, especially, I mean, in just the smallest amount of like getting more grocery bags at the grocery store. I hate having more plastic because I'm like, man, I just throw them back into the landfills, and it's creating such a negative effect. I'm curious to hear a little bit more about, do you partner with companies and that's how you recognize those purchases? How does that mechanism work in terms of recognizing purchases? I don't think a lot of us know how it works kind of on the back end, kind of underneath. Is it partnerships? Is it some kind of technology that you've created, or is it something else?
Yeah, so we're at Future, we're able to kind of pick up what area your purchase falls in. So for example, you have an electric car and you charge your car. It doesn't matter where you charge the car. We're able to kind of see, like, you plugged in, you charged up your car. This is better for the climate.
Yeah.
And we give you 5% cash back. The same, you ride the subway in New York, or you ride the metro up in LA or in San Francisco. We can kind of recognize that, that's what you were doing, and we categorize that as a kind of climate smart purchase. And then we have built a few kind of integrations on the back end where we look at particular company, like Just Salad is a great example here on the East Coast. They've just offered a climatarian menu for low carbon salad options. They also focus kind of smartly around ways to lower the waste production that happens at a restaurant. And so we know when you shop on their app or when you buy a salad in store, and we give you 6% cash back right there. And then when you pay with your Future card, debit card.
Yeah, I love that the private businesses are focusing on sustainability, climate change, because I think more so than ever, consumers are really recognizing their purchases and want to make those positive purchases, and wanting to make it easy on the day-to-day life is I think I wouldn't say the responsibility of private businesses, but I think there's so much opportunity there, and so much influence that they can have kind of overall. Tell me a little bit more about the traction that Future receives with its partners, with its customers, and with your exposure, in the market.
Yeah, to be frank, I've really been humbled over the last it's been less than a year.
Yeah, wow.
Since we launched, and so we've built I think an incredible member base. We now have members across each state in the US. We've been able to inspire some wonderful Future partners to join us. I talked about Just Salad, Rod Power Bikes, which is kind of leading the kind of e-bike revolution here in America, is one of our partners as well. And then we have interesting kind of circular fashion brands like 4 Days and Hilos and others who've joined. And so I've been incredibly excited, I think, by the uptake. Overall, we're thrilled that just this month we appeared in Real Simple and won their Smart Money award. And for us, it's really just the beginning of building a movement that is focusing on choices that are smart for your bottom line as a family and as a household, and really smarter for the planet and future generations to come.
I love that. One thing that came to mind, as we're talking about private businesses, we're talking about, from the individual level, Recently there was the Inflation Reduction Act that got passed, which is creating more incentive to purchase climate friendly and sustainable options for cars, for solar equipment. How has legislation like that, like what do you think about legislation like that? Is it something that's going to add on to the benefit of climate change and companies like Future, or do you or is it something else, or is it something that's going to impede or stop progress?
No, I think it will have a huge impact.
Hmm.
I think just take a kind of small example. I think for my household, I was fortunate to kind of transition to electric driving.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to add a solar roof onto our house,
Yeah.
and actually kind of save money on my monthly utility bills, which has been great.
Mm.
And part of what I think we want to see with Future is to just make these choices so much more accessible to families across the whole country. Right? Often, driving a Tesla is kind of still seen as it's a luxury car. It's
Sure.
it's the price point is pretty high, and so part of what the new bill does is, as one element, is it actually gives you ultimately up to $4,000 of a tax credit if you buy a secondhand electric vehicle, where prices, I think, are coming down significantly. And so everything that we do, whether it's in legislation or we do that on the corporate side, that just makes it easier for people to choose low carbon products and services. I think that's the direction we have to go in. And I think the Inflation Reduction Act is a big milestone in furthering that goal.
Yeah, no, I love the idea of incentivizing the secondhand market as well, because it's kind of I don't want to say a trickle down effect, but amongst those who can't purchase the first version of a product, they do have an opportunity to come at later versions, and those versions are still useful. They still work as they function when they were new, and it kind of influences a lot of the general public to make those carbon friendly decisions. What company do you think is leading the way in making better carbon friendly decisions? You mentioned Tesla being, a company that has created kind of a standard for electric vehicles, and people kind of I think it's almost synonymous with electric driving at this point. But what other companies, if not Tesla, do you think is leading the way in making carbon friendly decisions?
Yeah, so I think, fortunately, I think there's a whole bunch of companies that make it easy to live climate smart. Like, for example, everything I wear is secondhand. Like, this shirt was made from recycled plastic bottles, right? The pens I wear are kind of secondhand. I got them cheaper. Great quality, is no difference from buying them new.
Yeah.
And the couch I'm sitting on is kind of from a secondhand furniture marketplace. So it's really the kind of breadth of options where, if you really want to make decisions that have a lower carbon footprint, you have a lot of opportunities to do that. I think one company that we work closely with now is Back Market, for example. Right? Like, we've kind of grown accustomed that every time there's a new phone release, right, we have to kind of get the new device. And I think what they are offering is a really neat way, with full warranty, to give you renewed pre-loved devices.
Yeah.
That feel just like the new thing, but the price tag feels very different, right? It's significantly cheaper. And the carbon emissions and the e-waste that creates is significantly lower. So I think across marketplaces, fashion companies, car manufacturers, whether it's Tesla or Ford with the F-150 Lightning, or Volkswagen that's bringing out the kind of iconic Volkswagen bus kind of as the ID bus. I think there's a lot of just fun, exciting, novel innovation happening in that space, cutting all the way, across to food and, folks serving low carbon salads, or making alternative, steak and burgers and things like this, really palatable and widely acceptable.
Yeah. One thing that I'm always curious about is, with all